Welcome to VHS Sisters, a nostalgic movie podcast with two actual real-life sisters.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Saysha.
Get into some comfy clothes, grab your favorite beverage,
and come hang out with us as I force my little sister to watch all the movies she missed growing up. Energy. Woo! Energy.
Woo-woo.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're podding. We are podcasters. We're doing it.
I love it.
We're two just normal people telling other people what we think about movies. Hi, everybody. Welcome to VHS Sisters. I'm Saysha.
I'm Melanie.
And we're two real life sisters. And we are here to talk about movies, specifically movies that Melanie has never seen. And I, her elder sister, I'm just here to do my sisterly duty. Really, I'm just here to share the things that I was never around to share with you when you were younger.
No. I was looking at some pictures of us, which we'll have to post some like fall festivity, nostalgic photos.
Oh, yeah, we should.
For our friends and followers. But yeah, I was just like looking at the photos and, you know, I'm just like a big fat baby. And then Saysha is like a fully formed teenager.
I was going to say a big fat teenager.
Big fat teen. And she's pissed. She's not happy. She's like, man, I'm trying to get out this house.
I'm trying to leave. It's so funny because we're going to talk a lot about memory with this movie because this movie brings up a lot of memories, specifically memories of media. And you just reminded me of the memory I have of mom telling me that she was pregnant with you.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, which is a very strong memory for me. So I would have been 10 years old or just 11, probably just 11. That's also like when a day after my 11th birthday, that's when I got my period. For the first time. Yeah.
So you grew up real fast.
I grew up real fast. Yeah. So yeah, menstruation. And then immediately mom was like, hey, have you ever wanted a little baby sister? And I was like, no. I just looked her dead in the eyes and I was like, actually, no. I like my stuff untouched. I like my quiet. I thought that they, as you know, mom and your pa and my steppa were loud enough, honestly. They made enough noise. I could barely handle that. Couldn't really handle that. Yeah. And they're like, we're going to bring in another thing that makes a lot of noise in the house. So anyway, that's the story. It's a very interesting memory.
And you know what? Look at us now. Out here making noise together.
Yeah, no, it's really come full circle. You've drawn me into the world of expressing myself more. So maybe it was meant to be.
Yeah.
You know,
like sisters are always a good thing. And I find that like some people are so fascinated about our age gap too. They're like, wow, that's really crazy. Like, you know, that's quite a gap. Normally people are just churning out kids.
Right.
And, you know, I kind of find that I value the age gap because we kind of both got to be our own individual kids.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, oh, your brother does this, so we're going to do this too. Or like whatever. Like you just kind of had your own time to grow up and explore and do your own thing. And then finally, like when everybody got to a certain age, it's like, hey, let's hang out now, you know?
Yeah. I often say this to folks who ask about it because it does come up. I often say we had two separate, distinct childhoods.
Oh, yeah.
And very different, like, not just like generationally, because clearly I'm like a different generation, grew up in a completely different decade. Right. You had a completely different experience. And also your experience with our folks, very different, like how you were treated. I think it's also like eldest, youngest daughter thing too. I think that does come into play.
That too. And also like, obviously by mentioning like that, my dad is technically your stepdad, right? So it's like, you've grown up with not only a single mom at times, and then like a mom who dates and eventually gets married.
Right.
But to be fair to our listeners, another inside family tidbit is my parents really only got married because I was coming around. So I hitched a ride to that wedding.
Yeah, no, they're like, this is disgraceful.
They're like, you know what? Let's do that insurance benefit, I guess. She's going to be here in about 3 months. Or they didn't know what I was going to be, boy or girl.
Right. Think about what a whirlwind year that was for me. So like having 10 years on this planet, being a child, and then all of a sudden get my period, getting a sibling, and then mom gets remarried.
And then you guys moved into this house too.
Right. The house where you're currently living.
Yes.
Yeah. So, wow.
Come on, free rent.
This is just,
this is lore drop.
This is lore drop for our deepest sister lovers, we're going to call you. We need to think of a better name.
Yeah.
It's not great.
I don't know. We'll come up with maybe we'll do a vote on like fan names.
Yeah, I feel like it should come about organically, right? Like people try to force things, they try to brand things. They're like, oh, we need a catchphrase, all this stuff. I know that there will be merch. So listeners, keep an eye out for that. We've got merch coming. We've got pins, buttons, stickers. Y'all like stuff?
You want a comfy t-shirt maybe?
You want to buy something to keep that feeling of terror away? Then we've got you.
We've got the merch for you, man.
We've got, you know what? We've got merch and we've got hours of content coming. And
we've got tons of movies to watch.
We have so many movies, like this very obscure movie. I'm going to hold up the DVD. I don't have the VHS. Sorry, everyone who is a VHS lover. Holding up the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray.
Wow.
The Company of Wolves, which is the movie we are covering today. A lot of good features on this. It's missing. There is a documentary that I found on YouTube that was originally, I think, on the BBC. When I watched it on YouTube, it was like ripped from TV. It had like Australian commercials like in it. So I'll send you the link. It's really good. It's called Wolves on the Set. So, well, it's not included on the Blu-ray, FYI. Damn. So, but I will link all the things. We're going to get into it as we always start with the show. We're going to dive into Melanie's memories. Had you ever heard of this movie before I mentioned it?
No. Just like, do you want a sibling? No.
Yeah. No, same thing. Do you want a little sister? No. So yeah, no, zero context. You've never heard of Angela Carter, her books, this movie, Neil Jordan. You don't know any of it.
Nope. I know nothing.
It hasn't made its way to the TikTok yet.
I don't think so, but it will shortly.
Yes. Everyone follow our TikTok. Melanie runs our TikTok. Yeah, Melanie runs our TikTok and does an excellent job.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
She's going to do some dances soon on it for us.
I will do some entertainment, some lives, TikTok lives.
Yo, you should just go on live and talk about this insane fever dream of a movie as you described it to me just before we got on.
Fever dream is like the number one note I've made, but let's jump into it.
Yeah, let's hop right in.
I want to know too, how old were you when you watched this movie for the first time?
That is such a great question and a great segue because I really wanted to show you this movie for many reasons. I also think it's a very important movie for women to watch, especially nowadays. It was relevant then, and I think it's still relevant now. This movie happened to be one of my very first memories of film, like media memories. So I have a lot of really like crystal clear early childhood memories. For instance, one of my first musical memories, I have a very strong memory of being like in a car seat, listening to the Eurythmics' Here Comes the Rain Again. And mom was driving and it was raining on the window. And like my little toddler brain made that connection, like Helen Keller, right?
Oh,
like rain. She's singing about rain on the radio and rain is outside. That was one of the first things I remember about music. this is crazy because this also ties into a memory of my stepdad and your dad. I went with him on an errand, and I think we were at his friend's house, some random friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that this movie was on the TV. They must have had HBO. This would have been like the mid to late 80s. And it's such a strange movie. Like it must have been on HBO or some sort of cable channel. I remember specifically the scene because I was like sitting there. I think that they were like doing gun repair or something.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just like at a friend's house. And they were like talking about hunting rifles and stuff. And I was bored. Like I was doing the thing that I hate the most, which is being dragged to a stranger's house. And then I have to like sit there and entertain myself and just feel awkward. So sitting there on the strange person's couch, watching the scene where Angela Lansbury as Granny is talking to Rosaline.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Rosaline asks the questions. Do the dogs bite the bitches after they're done or something like that? Like I just remembered they said the word bitch. And as a kid, I was like, oh, they said a bad word. And
whoa, what am I watching?
Yes, I remember watching it, and for the longest time, I could not remember. I didn't know what the movie was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I just remember it's a granny and her granddaughter, and they're talking about wolves. They're talking about the dangers of men. They're talking about how men will deceive you and how dogs do wolves do the same thing that men do. And so this was such like a very deep-seated childhood memory. That is my first memory of it. And for me, it's like, when you see a movie and you just don't know what it is, and then you try to figure it out for years and years. Right. This was like the movie. When I finally figured out what it was, I became completely obsessed with it. That's my first memory of Company of Wolves. And then when I found out what it was, I found out who Angela Carter, the writer, was in high school, and found out that she was an amazing author. She's one of my favorite authors of all time. She's written novels, short stories, and this movie is based on one of her short stories, which is in the book, The Bloody Chamber. The story is called The Company of Wolves. And these are all sort of like, all of these stories are like, I want to describe them as like fractured fairy tales.
They're like a fable.
Fables, but they're like, I think Angela Carter might describe these as like feminist takes on fairy tales. They're incredibly like lush and lurid and sexual. And it's all usually from like the woman's viewpoint. So you have like the story of like Bluebeard's wife, and it's the wife's perspective, and everything's kind of like there's so much about like adolescence and growing up and using like these old fairy tales to like figure out who you are in puberty. And
it's kind of like the Bible, right? It's just like stories made up so that you can like guide your life path based on what you think is moral.
Right. Yeah. And it was, if you've ever read any actual Grimm's fairy tales, you know how incredibly dark they are.
Oh, yeah.
They usually have sad or violent endings. I want to do Angela Carter justice. I'm not an Angela Carter scholar. I'm just a huge fan, and I've followed her work for years. If you've never read this, you absolutely should. It's really short. And the stories are like, especially if you feel like you're doing a lot of trash reading lately, if you want to read.
Guilty.
Yeah, which is fine. Like we both love to read trash. We both have a soft spot for trashy romance. This is like capital R romance. This is like, it's very lush prose. It's just like, the sentences like go on, but like in a good way. And they're incredibly descriptive, the way she describes clothes and food. And she was a huge influence on me. She's like a very sensory kind of writer. So I was very pleased to find out that she wrote the screenplay for this movie, because a lot of times writers do not write the screenplay. They hire somebody else to do it because it is kind of like a different thing. even writers like Stephen King, he's like, sometimes he writes the screenplay or he collaborates, and sometimes he's like, well, you just do it. He's like, I'm busy writing 15 other books. Like,
I'm busy skiing the slopes, doing my multiple other ventures. Goodbye.
Snorting pure Colombian cocaine and writing about child orgies. So there's that. I wasn't going to bring it up. I wasn't going to bring it up again, but you know what? It just came up organically. Sorry. Sorry, listeners. So yes, Angela Carter, she originally, like, to get into the movie, because I don't want this to become like a writer's, like a book podcast, because I could easily go down that rabbit hole. We're going to stick to the movie and how it all relates to the movie. And most importantly, your impressions of this movie, because I'm dying to know what you thought of this. It is a very polarizing movie. And I feel like depending who the personality is, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it, or you're going to be like, what? Like, what's going on? She and the director, Neil Jordan, both worked on the screenplay together. I read that it was originally supposed to be a series of radio plays, which I think is super interesting. Like listening to like enhanced audiobooks. I think that would have been cool, but this somehow got greenlit to be a movie. I think it was like a crazy, impossible task. Like, especially if you've read the books, it's very dreamlike. Everything's very like liminal. And the fact that Neil Jordan is a director do you know who Neil Jordan is? Okay. He directed Interview with a Vampire.
Okay.
He directed The Crying Game. Have you seen The Crying Game?
No.
I don't know if it's a good one for the pod. That's a huge part of Saysha lore. The Crying Game is huge. I can't talk too much about it without completely spoiling it. But quick sidebar, I got in so much trouble in junior high because I wrote a short story that was basically that movie plagiarized, and they didn't know it. They didn't know it was from the movie. Nobody in my Catholic school knew what The Crying Game was, but that they thought that the material or the subject matter that I wrote about was highly inappropriate. So that is one of my first instances of like getting trouble. And so I can't talk about the movie without spoiling it. Maybe we'll watch that one. Anyway, Neil Jordan, Irish director, really great. Anyway, so they worked on this movie together. They adapted it somehow. It was shot in England at Shepperton Studios, which is where they shot Alien. They shot Clockwork Orange. So as you can see, it's like all interior. It's supposed to be outdoors, but it's clearly indoors.
Yeah.
Just like the opening of the movie, I think we get that from the get-go. Like now that we've unpacked all of my memories of this, like what were your first impressions, like seeing the titles and seeing the opening of this movie?
I was not sure what to expect. So like there's a dog, a German Shepherd running through the woods, and I'm like, ooh, it's autumnal. It's it's cold, it's murky. It's like those leaves are damp, they're not super crunchy. Those leaves are damp.
No,
and we got
some humidity in the air.
Yeah. I was watching like that. And then I'm like, okay, this dog's running. Like he's an athlete, attuned into that. I'm like, wow. And then I see the parents are driving up, and the one sister comes out, and she's like, complaining to her parents. She hasn't come out of her room, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, okay. Like, we need to punish her or something. So I was just like, okay. And then the dog runs upstairs to like give her a warning, which is my good dog, give her a warning that people are home and they're looking for her. And then like her psycho sister starts like knocking on her door, which like, okay, also to this house.
Yes.
It looks like just like a white brick house, but like the way that the sister ran up these multiple flights of stairs, I'm like, this is not real, This is not how it's designed on the inside. She has like an attic room.
Right. It was clearly they had an exterior house, and then the interior was shot in a sound stage where they built that house.
Right. And so I was like, ooh, cool. Like we get to see the inside of this house. No, not really. And then she knocks on the door, and she's like talking to the sister, and she's like, you are a pest, blah, blah, blah. Just like bitching at her through the door. And I'm like, what is happening? What's going on inside of this door? I'm either scared or like maybe she's dead or like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
All right.
And then it's like tons of creepy hidden dolls and like doll figurines everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of creepy like stuffed animals, and just like the room looks really lived in, but it also looks like kind of, you know, how we always like to say how the 70s meets the 80s.
Yes.
Like there's like tons of like old memorabilia and like just, I don't know, just something unsettling about it to me. I'm like, this room looks dirty. And then she's out there sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
She's got what I assume is like tissue next to her. So I'm just like, maybe she's sick.
Oh, I didn't notice the tissue.
It was just like this, and then maybe it wasn't. I mean, I thought it was tissue in my head.
She's got like a box of tissues next to her. She's in like this creepy childhood bedroom. Yeah, I forgot all about all the dolls, which made me think of a lot of things. We have a lot of cursed dolls. One of them straight up looks like, I don't know if you know about this cursed doll, Robert the doll. Yes. Okay, cool. You know about Robert the doll. All right.
I do, because I watch a lot of Zach. I'm sorry, not Zach Beckins. Jack and Ozzy's road trip detour, or whatever they called it. It was like a show on A&E where Jack and Ozzy Osbourne went and traveled around the United States, and they went to where basically Robert was found. Whoa. And there's like a museum dedicated to him. They end up buying a doll and they take it with them across like the road trip, and Ozzy's not a fan of it because he thinks it's cursed, so he's like trying to get rid of it. So it's like a constant gag on the show.
Oh my goodness, I have to see that. Yeah, I've never seen that show, but
you would probably like it. It's cute and cozy.
You got some family vibes, you have some occult vibes. I feel like that's the best, much like this movie is also like family
occult meets occult.
Yeah, very very like Freudian, in the sense of like everything has like a double meaning.
It does. And I will say, I think I missed, I mean, I know the general, like the big ideas. Some of the smaller ones may have missed me, so I'm glad that you're such a fan and you can kind of like explain some of that to me later. But anyways, so she's like sleeping and the sister's like, you have my lipstick, blah, blah, blah. And she's got, you can see it on her lips while she's in the room. And then like, she's still sleeping. This girl doesn't wake up, even though the one's pounding on that door, screaming at her through the side of the door. And then that's basically like the last sister interaction besides the one that comes up. But it's like, I was like, okay, so she clearly hates her. They seem very close in age, so see, maybe it's a good thing we're so far apart in age.
Yeah, they looked very similar.
Yeah,
they looked,
you just like resent your sibling who's closest to you.
Well, exactly, like you get a lot of rivalry, and like from that scene we see the younger sister snoozing with like the glossy lips on. I noticed that she's got a book next to her called The Shattered Dream, which I had never noticed before. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Cause like this whole movie is a dream. Like that's the thing. It's all, and it's, I thought it was interesting to cover the movie this week because my dreams have been crazy this week, like out of control. So I was just like, oh, this is actually really a very like therapeutic movie for me to rewatch right now. So we go right into the dream, and it's interesting because we get all of these wolves now chasing. And I thought it was the younger sister at first, but it's actually the older sister who gets killed by the wolves. And I was like, oh yeah, she hates her sister.
But also in the dream, not only did the wolves kill her, and like that's towards the end, but like the fucking dolls come to life and start chasing her around. And I'm like, holy shit, it's Robert. Like,
and Robert the doll came alive. Yeah, there's that Robert one. The big teddy bear
was so creepy.
Which
stuffed bear jump scare is what I wrote, because she goes up to it and it's just like a still stuffed animal, and then he wakes up and grabs her, and I was like, no, I'm scared.
It reminds me a lot of, I don't know if you've ever seen the Bjork music video, Human Behavior.
No.
Have you seen it? Okay, I'll link it. I'll send it and I'll link it. But there's a huge teddy bear who gives chase to Bjork the whole time. It's like she's in a nightmare too, and there's a lot of nightmare. I think it's a Michael Gondry. It's super cool. One of the best of the 90s. But yeah, a lot of like scary toys and scary, creepy, kooky dolls just
like
there to give
comical woods in a way. There was like some big fake mushrooms and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what's happening. And then the wolves kill her. And I'm like, I can't believe the sister dies so quick.
Yeah, she's right she's from gone. The get.
Yeah, your problems are gone, girl.
There's you can see that there's tension in the relationship. And in the younger sister's dream, she just offs the big sister, and then we never see her again. I just thought that was super interesting. I was like, why couldn't they like bring her back, or why doesn't that actress like reappear like later in the movie? Mm-hmm. So yeah, instantly we're in dreamland. It's very like Alice in Wonderland.
Yep, we do a time warp.
We do a quick time warp, and then we're back in, I guess this could be described as like the 17th century or 18th century, like late 1700s, kind of like around French Revolution time. It's like definitely dark village, you know, poor people surrounded by aristocrats. We've got a lot of, in terms of fashion corner, we definitely have a lot of like Georgian style, you know, we see that later in the movie, like a lot of fancy clothes, but also like everything is definitely very like French flavored, even though it's a British production. And I feel like Angela Carter or Neil Jordan were thinking very much of like Charles Perrault and like the original French fairy tales, like Beauty and the Beast. And so like, that's all French. Everything is French. So they're definitely doing like a tip of the hat to that.
Yeah. And once, it comes up pretty quick, because like grandma's at the funeral with her, and she's like, you're going to come stay with me for a couple nights or something, like,
right.
And I love the grandma character. I thought she was awesome.
Angela Lansbury as grandma she's honestly maybe my favorite part. She's so hardcore. She's just like, you know what, this is how it is. People die. People don't trust anybody. She's out here as a harbinger, like,
I'm assuming she's paternal grandmother in this situation, but I could be wrong. Because like the mom kind of talks about like, oh, you shouldn't listen to her so much, she's crazy. And then like the grandma's like, oh, your mother's whatever. Like they kind of hate each other a little bit. So I'm assuming it's paternal grandma.
It does give that kind of vibe. Yeah. And she's just like, the Rosaline as a character is bonding more with the grandmother on her father's side, seems to have like a different connection with her father. Definitely there's some undercurrent of like, you can see how like daughter to mother, not like a competition, but there's some tension. So I feel, I think I found that very relatable as a kid. You know, I spent a lot of time with both of my grandmothers and always sort of sought out the company of older adults.
Yeah.
Like you kind of like
their lives are more chill, you know?
Their lives are more chill. And then like, yeah, I had like my paternal grandmother was like also a huge reader and really into movies. So we definitely like bonded on that. So yeah, that was like, I remembered like rewatching this. I was like, oh, right. Like I really related to that whole dynamic. Angela Lansbury in this movie is like giving 150.
Oh yeah.
She's having the best time, and she's got like the best lines too. She starts warning Rosaline right away about all the dangers that could befall her, that have clearly befallen her sister. So that's the thing. She's like trying to keep her from going down that wrong path. And right away, she's like, yeah, she's got these aphorisms. She's like, never stray from the path.
Never trust a man whose eyebrows meet, period.
Period.
If he cannot groom himself, what are we doing?
I'm
not interested.
All the men in this movie need a good waxer.
Yes. Or a threader, a threading artist.
A threading artist. It's that unibrow. It's got to go.
I'm not saying that, like, obviously, sometimes in different lives and culture, unibrows are revered and things of that nature. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these gross men.
Right. No, cultural context, people.
Right. But I'm just like, okay, nasty. Okay, I got it, grandma. No problem. Like, I want a man who grooms. He wants just a touch, you know, as the 90s term that's like long dead. It's a outdated term from the 90s, being that someone is metrosexual.
Oh, yes. That we don't say that anymore. Now we would call it, what is it called? Performative male. Have you heard this term?
Maybe.
Performative male, there's like a whole, like, you're going to look it up after we're done here.
Is that like the Turkish haircuts where they like line you up all crazy and do the nose waxing and all that? Or is that
no, that's just like different.
I do appreciate a nice, a nice fade.
That's different male group. No, performative male, it's like, it's a way for the internet to make fun of men that have more feminine qualities, which is inherently sort of problematic. But it's like a cis man where they have like a tote bag and a Sally Rooney novel and they're holding an iced matcha and they're like, what's your favorite indie band? And like, you know what I'm saying? And like these men think of themselves as like, quote unquote, like one of the good ones, but they're actually worse.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, I'm not going to recommend you watch it. It's not that great. It's on Netflix. I think it's called You. It's very that. It's like, it's what happens when you get too close to one of those people.
I'm interested. I like studying human nature. Clearly, I'm fascinated.
I think the first season was good. I don't understand how it's gone on to be 4 seasons, but or something of that nature. But I'm just like, okay, the first one was fine.
It's like Netflix money. They're just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, let's give Penn Badgley all that cash.
We will give Penn Badgley all that cash, but we won't do one more season of Glow, which I don't understand. And Netflix, anybody at Netflix, if you are listening to this, Glow needs a final season just to put a cap on everything. The fact that they just stopped it mid storyline is crazy. You've seen it, right? You've seen Glow? Oh my God. You got to, I mean, maybe
it's the roller derby.
It is women's pro wrestling in the 1980s.
Oh.
And it's really good. It's like Allison Brie is in it from Mad Men.
Okay.
Pete's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's great. Very hot. You see her boobs. So
anyway, well, everyone tune in for that.
Anyone tune in for some boobs. Anyway, tangent. So yeah, we were talking about grandma, all of her quotes. Yeah, the full quote is never stray from the path, never eat a windfall apple, which is so poetic and also appropriate for autumn.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Yet never trust a man whose eyebrows meet. And I was like, that's all you really need to know as a woman.
And maybe also in another metaphorical sense, like if their eyebrows are meeting, maybe it's because they're scowling all the time, like angry men. That's just like an extra thing I wanted to throw in there.
Yeah, no, yeah. Beware of angry men in general. But yeah, she's saying that if a man has a unibrow, he's probably a werewolf. FYI. Mm-hmm. Don't go messing with those werewolves. So yeah, it's interesting. Angela Carter, again, I'm not going to like dive down the rabbit hole here. Her whole lens that she looks through, it's definitely like, if you start reading her works, I think you would find it interesting because of the books we enjoy nowadays. Mm-hmm. I feel like she is like the grandmother of all these romantic novels where it's very like gender essentialist, like men do this and women do this. And this is a feminine quality. Women are expected to like be attractive and birth babies and use their attractive wiles to lure in men. And men, they've got the wolf in them, like in Moonstruck, right? Like every man's got a wolf in him. And there's something about, and I've seen so many interviews with her. She's definitely like a straight woman. Like, I don't know what her personal life was, but she's definitely like, she's interested in men. She's interested in dating them. She was married twice. She's very interested in that whole like, this bestial nature of man, and like, how do women balance that out? And me being myself, I'm like, that's an interesting way to see the world. I think it's a little outdated,
right?
But she's very like of her time, like as a woman who was born in the 40s. Like, got it. She was, and her life story, sorry, I'm not going to tangent too much. Her life story is super, super interesting because I will also link, there's a really great biography movie that I saw. I think it was also on the BBC, where they talk about her life story. And she tried to do like all the right things. She tried to go through like the British school system. She tried to she married like relatively young. She tried to be like a good wife. And then at one point she just left for Japan. She like left her husband, went to go live in Japan, and just went crazy for like
incredible.
Like she was just like, she just had like that sort of, I just imagine it like she's just like sitting at the kitchen table and like her proper like British housewife get up and just being like, I want to get out of here.
I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, no, she left. She went to Japan and then she really started to like pick up her writing career and just lived her dreams.
Did she relocate from Japan or did she just remain there or?
She lived there a while and then she eventually came back to England. She became like a food writer and started writing short stories. And like her, like, if you want to get into her as a writer, I can send you all the resources. She just wrote a ton. She became very interested in fairy tales. And so a lot of her work is influenced by, how do I want to say, like mythology, stuff like that, romance.
Well, to me, and I mean, I kind of knew it like as it was coming up, but I'm like, this is just like Red Riding Hood fanfic in a way.
Yes. No, that's what I was saying. It's like, yeah, if you are interested in the very popular trope of rewriting fairy tales to fit a modern lens, I feel like she really is one of the first to do that. And her work is so good. But anyway, yeah. What was I trying to get with that tangent? I was talking about
Grandma was talking about all of these different, like Grandma was talking about like the rules of life here, like, you know, don't stray from the path. And then
I was getting on a tangent because it's very much like the perspective is Angela Carter's, in the sense that like, yeah, men are these big beastie things and women have to go through all of this like puberty and blood and suffering and being bothered by men, childbirth and all that stuff. And we see all that imagery like later on, but basically Rosaline is our main character. The actress who played Rosaline, what did you think about her?
I thought she was all right. She was very like timid. She had like good expressions. I thought she was able to like convey all her emotions without having to say too much. Obviously, like when I first saw her in the beginning where she's laying in the bed, I was like, okay, like, you know, how is this going to shake out? Clearly she's she's supposed to be like a preteen, I'm assuming, or like just getting into like early womanhood. Grandma is trying to give her some advice. She goes over and spends time and she's like, Grandma's, you know, read me a story, or like tell me a story, one of your, you know, many stories that the moms even like. Don't listen to Grandma.
She got so many stories.
She's like, the way she engages with her, there's something about the grandma in this. It's so comforting to watch her, because it's like she's cold but also very warm at the same time. Like she's not afraid to be blunt. She tells it like it is. She's a little bit sassy, but she, you know, she's like, respect your elders, you know.
Yeah, no, she's like a good mix of like hot and cold. She's really trying to like in the beginning, she's talking to Rosaline, who I just wanted to bring up the actress because could you clock how old she was?
If I had to guess, the way you're presenting this question,
right? I'm leading a little.
Probably in her 20s.
No, see, I thought she was like 18 trying to play like 13 or 14, right? Because she looks a little bit older. She had definitely a more mature presence. She was 13 when she started filming this movie. I know.
Incredible.
Right. Yeah. They had it because I was reading up a lot on the production and they're like, well, they had to take her out of school. And I was like, what school? She was still in school. So the actress is Sarah Patterson. And like, this is pretty much all she did. She did some other small things, but this is kind of what she's known for. And yeah, I was gobsmacked to hear that. I was like, oh my God, she was 13 going into 14 doing this movie, which is crazy because quick sidebar, when she's hanging out with the huntsman later towards the end of the movie, that guy's like 40. So
he is.
I was like, okay, this is again, all these British movies I'm making you watch where there's like inappropriate age gap relationships. I'm really sorry.
It's the undertone of the era, you know?
It really is. And like, just think like back in the day, like in the 50s, it was like your grandma was like 15 and grandpa was 25 and nobody batted an eye.
Right.
Because everyone
would have 6 kids back to back.
Yeah. Because it was like after World War II and they're just like, well, better replenish, I guess, you know, right. let's crank them out.
Yeah. Like maybe these kids will help us like, you know, earn more money.
Yeah, you got to put them right to
collective
work.
family unit. So grandma's telling her a story in the cabin, and I think this is where it does another like time jump. Which is why
Okay.
it was kind of like a little bit confusing as far as the timeline goes. I understood it was a dream, but then I'm like, okay, now we're like in a whole nother thing. And grandma's talking about how this lady, she trusted a wolf essentially to come into her home, and they became married, and they were like walking through the forest in this like brigade or whatever, and everyone's like, yay, like, okay, awesome, it's their wedding night, like let them consummate the marriage. They go in there, and the guy starts like not totally transforming, but he starts like getting a little like itchy almost on the inside, and he's got to go
Yeah.
outside. And she's like, where are you going? He's like, well, nature's, it's calling me or something, the moon calls.
Do you know who that actor is who plays the husband in the little vignette sequence, like the story that grandma tells? So that's Stephen Ray. He's a pretty famous Irish actor. Neil Jordan uses him a lot.
Okay.
So he was also in Interview with a Vampire and The Crying Game.
Unfamiliar, but I don't like. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's been around, and he works. Great Irish actor, Stephen Ray. So yeah, it's funny. Yeah, all these actors are like very much of like British Irish stage tradition, which is why it's like it's also kind of dreamlike. Other than Angela Lansbury, nobody's like super recognizable unless you like closely follow like the British scene. So yeah, no, we go right into that first vignette, which is just a cautionary tale. This woman like marries a werewolf. Yeah, he has to leave. He leaves her on the wedding night. She's like,
and leaves for like 3 years.
Leaves for 3 years. She ends up marrying somebody else because she's like, okay, you're gone. Did you clock who her second husband was? It happened real quick.
No.
No. Okay. The second husband was our pal from Downton Abbey again, actor Jim Carter.
No way.
He's uncredited. I looked for him in the credits. He is not credited. So Jim Carter's in there. Like Ryan and I were watching this together, and he was like, hey, that's Downton Abbey guy again.
That was like his second gig or something.
Maybe, yeah. I think like or maybe he was just working like on the set, like because it was like one of those big like British soundstage compounds. It was kind of like what they did with Harrison Ford for Han Solo. They're just like, hey, come read for this.
Right.
And like, and he was like working as a carpenter. So I kind of feel like that's maybe what happened with Jim Carter. They're like, hey, get in here and read. Like, you don't have to say any lines. Just be this husband who knocks up this woman with 3 kids immediately.
Yes. And then it's like, okay, I wrote, this is my note. Her scum husband leaves for what seems like 3 years. Meanwhile, she got hers, and she had 3 kids. First of all, she's also looking miserable. So I'm like, what's the real horror story here? He comes back and demands dinner. The werewolf comes back, demands dinner, calls her a whore.
Yeah, upsetting.
And I'm like, this part is the scary movie for sure. Like this is horrifying.
Yeah.
And then to my knowledge now, Jim Carter comes back and he slaps her, like slaps her in the face for having fed her this guy her ex who was like clearly coming to murder her. And she I think he hits him or something, and his head goes flying off into like this bucket of cream or something. And she's like, he looks just like what he did on our wedding night. And he slaps the shit out of her. And I was like, this is fucked up.
Yeah, well, you skipped the best part, which is like, I like to call it the Hellraiser transformation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. It's okay. Yes. Like I
blocked that out mentally.
I was
talking about repression.
No. I love that you pointed out the domestic abuse, which is disturbing. That is the true nightmare. And like, we were watching it, and I was like, think how many women had to live like this over like in the course of history, just being very put upon, having multiple kids, getting no help at home, and then blamed for everything when everything goes wrong. Like, things are terrible now, but at least we have like a couple choices.
Right.
Like,
for real.
But yeah, no, Stephen Ray gets really pissed, and then he undergoes maybe one of the most disturbing werewolf transformations I've ever seen.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if she throws the soup at him or something. She's making this like bloody body part soup for her kids who can barely eat anything. And then she like throws it at him. and he starts melting, like parts of his skin come off, and it's just like slow and slower, and you see the bony hand, like the shaky fake bone hand, like pulling some skin off, and his face morphs into like a shape of a wolf.
Yeah,
but it's all like, go back to Dracula here, but it's all like muscle,
yes,
fascia
full
all over
fascia and bone and tendon coming out.
Yeah, it's just like, ugh, it was gruesome.
I do know with the special effects crew, who I think just did like a bang up job, especially this was kind of like a limited budget movie. And as you can see, like they only had like they have to give this illusion of being in deep forest, and they had like 12 trees. Granted, they were all like big trees, but they just like, it was all shot indoors. So they just had to move these set pieces around. And I feel like for this transformation scene, I do know that when they were talking about how to do the transformation, because it has been famously done in many other movies, like The Howling, An American Werewolf in London has a very famous one that is extremely gruesome, which you haven't seen yet. I know. Like, we should compare movies with werewolf transformations.
We'll also watch Twilight.
Yeah, there's not a big oopy goopy transformation in that, but it's Twilight.
Still a gross movie, yeah.
It's for different reasons. But I know with this movie, the effects team, they were like, we want to transform men into wolves, not werewolves. So it wasn't like they were trying to be like a shifter kind of vibe. It was like, no, they're turning into an actual wolf. So it's like there's so many scenes of like wolves busting out of human skin, which is really
skin burster. Yeah.
The old skin burster. As far as the wolves go, it's funny because I read that they used a lot of dogs, which I think you can see.
Oh yeah, obviously.
But
tons of dogs.
The documentary that I will link for all of our listeners and that I'll send to you, they said that they did use some real wolves, but like we talked about in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, they are very hard to control and dangerous too. Like they will just kind of do their own thing. So I think in some scenes where there wasn't a lot of human interaction, they try to get some wolves in there. And they said that they had a guy with like tranquilizers on set just in case like it went crazy. Like that was a fun fact that I got from the documentary. I was like, oh boy.
Just ready to shoot.
Yeah, just right. Yeah, like just poised and ready to go. But I think you can see like most of them are either German shepherds,
like they're like a Belgian shepherd, or like
what are those called? Belgian Teruvians or something? That's like it's like a breed of dog.
Well, the Malinois have a shorter coat.
So the Malinois. Yeah. They were like clearly like airbrushed a little bit to look like wolves.
Yeah, they might have had like I think towards the end there might have been an actual wolf, but I could be wrong. Like they have the hybrids too, which I know are illegal in some states, like the wolf dog hybrids. They are very beautiful, probably a little bit more trainable.
Yeah, you've talked about in various other pods about your love for apex predators. What was your predator rating for them? Did you enjoy the wolves, basically, is my question.
Enjoyed them. I thought, obviously, they looked like a bunch of dogs, and that's fine. I appreciated the fluffy dogs running everywhere. And I was like, they clearly put on like this like after effect of like glowing eyes on them and things of that nature to kind of make them seem a little more haunted, if you would, or, to make them look more peculiar.
Absolutely.
And so I just, they looked cute and cozy.
Yeah, no, they weren't very threatening. There were, however, animals everywhere in this movie.
And like you talked about budget and different things too. It's like, what is this full anaconda doing in this like coniferous forest or whatever it is? It's just like it doesn't belong there.
Yeah, there were a lot of, in my notes, I wrote, this is cottagecore horror.
Yeah,
which is 100%. Tricky to say. It is maybe one of the most cottagecore movies I've ever watched. And I think if you're a fan of that aesthetic, you should definitely watch this movie. It is like everywhere you look, there's a duck. There's a little waggy tail duck. There's chickens in the house. There's a chicken in the bedroom. There's toads literally everywhere.
Porcupine. There's a hedgehog.
There's a hedgehog. Yeah. And like in the one vignette that Stephen Ray like tosses the hedgehog out of the house. I was like, no, Hedgie.
No.
Oh, it's fine. He probably just rolled away.
Oh,
he's good to go.
Someone was there catching it on the other side.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to believe. Yeah, there's tons and tons of animals in this movie, and I feel like they probably just like got a bunch from a farm nearby because they're shooting in like south of England somewhere, and they're just like, hey, we need Farmer John to give us his pigs, his chickens. We're just going to rent these for the day. So it's like, in terms of vibes, I feel like if you just want to like vibe with the movie, we were discussing earlier, like if you wanted to take drugs, I feel like this would be a good movie.
Oh, this would be a fabulous like acid movie.
I feel like, yeah, unless you're scared of animals or wolves, it might be a little scary, but it's definitely like you got to drop your bean for this one.
Mm-hmm.
You got to just vibe out. Maybe like a light dose of mushrooms.
Yeah.
On this one. Just like a micro dose, and then pop this on, and you know, you just can just feel really good about it.
Hopefully have a good time.
Hopefully not be terrified. Right. Yeah, there's a lot of, it's hard to like describe this movie. Like usually we go through the plot, but this movie is so like, it's like stories within stories. It's like dreams within dreams. Like the people in the dream are telling stories. There's a lot of like flashbacks. Like, now I'm going to tell you about a story. So this is the way, like I said, it was a book of short stories by Angela Carter. And I feel like the main story is Rosaline's like journey from childhood into puberty. And there's this sort of like, the main thing is her being pestered by this boy who they call in the movie, his name is just Amorous Boy.
Yes, I clocked that on the subtitles. Amorous Boy.
He's just Amorous Boy. And I'm like, this guy's a herb. Like, get him out of here.
It's always some short, curly-headed blonde guy just trying to like bark up that tree. I'm like, get
out of here. Yeah, he's only interesting in the one scene. Like, we see him bugging Rosaline a lot. He's like, let's go on a walk. And Grandma's like, don't touch that dirty boy.
Yeah.
And you can tell that Rosaline is not feeling him.
No.
At all. But we get this little scene where he's in the woods alone, and then sort of out of nowhere, this Rolls Royce rolls up. And
I wrote that. I said the devil drives a Rolls Royce, baby.
Yeah. And but the driver, the chauffeur, is just Rosaline in a blonde wig. Which is I did not remember that. I was like, oh my God, talk about like Freudian. Like, this is so crazy. And then do you know who the actor who played the devil was?
I did not clock him, no.
So that is an actor. His name is Terrence Stamp. He recently passed away like this year. R.I.P. King. He is going to be in a movie that we are going to watch this winter. And I don't want to spoil it for our listeners, but there's going to be a Terrence Stamp appearance in one future pod. He's done a ton of stuff. He's like a very legendary stage and film actor. He was in like a Superman movie. He played a villain. So anyway, we don't have to go into it. You're going to get to know him better, but so I just want to say, like, him being cast as the devil is such like a supreme choice. He's such a classy actor. He is only there. I don't think he's credited either. So that's the thing. There's so much about this movie that's like, I don't remember it because it's like they almost want the movie itself to be like a mystery. Like, it's just this weird thing that happened. And there's no like promotions. Like, they're not out here like walking the red carpet trying to promote this movie. It's almost like it was made in secret.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say too, it has because it was so low budget for what it was, it has a very TV movie quality to it. Like, even the titles in the beginning, I was like, oh, we're just watching this on like PBS or something. Yeah. So yeah, that's the main thing throughout the movie, is that she's just trying to avoid this scrub of a boy, Amorous Boy. And she's trying to avoid him in all situations. She climbs a tree. She goes up into the tree. She finds like a nest, and the eggs crack open, and there's like little baby dolls in it.
Baby eggs.
Yes. Did you love that?
I didn't. I did not love the creepy baby eggs. It was like, ew. I thought they were moving, and then she brings it back, and it's a statue.
It's a statue. Yeah. Like, again, so many levels of like metaphor, and it's all like whatever. It's not like too oblique. You kind of get it. It's like this whole movie is basically a metaphor for growing up from becoming like a little girl into a woman, dealing with all of these, like all of a sudden you feel your body changing and like, oh, I can't just be a simple child anymore. Just like me when I was 11.
Yeah.
And I was like, now I'm not a girl. It is mostly imagery that is about growing up, maturing, going through adolescence. Was there any, like, I want to say, any imagery or visual metaphors that really struck you other than like the creepy baby doll eggs?
I was gonna say there was like when she's in her like one room cabin with her parents, like she sees them bone. I'm like, ew.
that really stuck with you.
The trauma of seeing your parents bone. And I think that's why she goes to ask, like, oh, does the female dog like do what the male dog does to her?
Right.
Does she bite back, kind of thing, or does he hurt her? There's also like the raining of the spiders in church.
Oh, yes.
I was totally creeped out.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like
spiders.
Spider rain. Yeah, I saw that. And I was just like, I highlighted that.
Just gently pushing them off of her Bible or whatever she, and I'm just like, ugh.
So what? Ugh. Yeah, if you had spiders fall on your Bible,
I would just slam it shut.
Oh, well, yeah, you can't kill a spider. That's bad luck.
Oh, it's gonna murder me and my whole family. And I can't have that spider near me.
No, that spider is good. That spider eats bugs. It eats mosquitoes. You hate mosquitoes, right?
I don't like them, but I don't go like seeking spiders to kill. But if they do threaten me, best believe I will threaten back with a flamethrower.
Yeah, Rosaline is out here. She's not bothered like most of the movie. She's just brushing spiders casually off her Bible. She tells the story. I think she's the one who tells the story about the jilted sorceress who crashes the wedding party, which is my favorite scene. And we can talk about that here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, Rosaline's like, yeah, there was a young woman who was done wrong by a nobleman. And then we get that little vignette, which is everyone in like the most gorgeous costumes, these Georgian costumes, the Marie Antoinettes.
It's like a Rococo.
Yeah, fully stacked powdered wigs, gorgeous peignets. They're having a wedding feast. They cut the wedding cake with a sword, which I think is so cunty.
Yeah, and like a saber.
Like a saber. Yeah, I was just like, oh, I love this. And then guess what? Yeah, the young nobleman has gotten a young sorceress pregnant. So what does she do?
She turns up at the party.
Yeah, no, that's like the ultimate, like showing up, like being an ex, showing up at the wedding party and then being like, you know what?
Guess who's expecting?
So like,
guess who's having a baby?
Guess who's having a baby? Yeah, so fierce. She calls him out. She embarrasses him. And then she just transforms everyone into wolves. And I love this scene so much because she turns all the disgusting rich people. Everyone's out here like, rah, like eating. That
lady eating the chicken or the turkey leg. She fucking pissed me off. I'm like, girl, I know this is, again, another touch on maybe like a 7 deadly sin thing. She's clearly gluttony,
They're all disgusting. Gluttony.
They all are.
Yeah. No,
she's really shoving it down.
Yeah, that's so funny because it's like, especially in modern times, we always talk about like why there shouldn't be billionaires, how this is like an unnatural thing. And there are just some people who like live to hoard and like take up all the resources. And like, there have always been people like that. And like, it was so funny because back in that time, like, I mean, this is why we had the French Revolution. This is why the French started killing all those people because they were like the epitome of excess. That's why I think like people who appreciate fashion, art, or drag are just so fascinated with that time. You see a lot of people trying to emulate those looks. I definitely have in many costumes because it's just like the ultimate in like if you've ever seen the Sofia Coppola movie, Marie Antoinette,
of course,
you know that she needed people to dress her. You could not dress yourself. You were so rich. You needed servants to do everything for you. And that's just how they showed their wealth. So anyway, that was a quick tangent. I love how she turns all the gross rich people, and the servants and the musicians are good. And they all like cheer after they're
like,
done.
Oh, thanks, friend.
Yeah. Yep. And I was just like, hell yeah, that's what we all got to do. We got to turn them all into animals. All these fucked rich people.
Their true colors.
Their true bestial nature. Yeah, I think the way that they do that scene too, with like the mirror reflection and like it cracks, and like you don't see like they can't afford like 15 full body transformations. So you get like an impression of it. It's because it's a very dreamlike movie. It totally works. And then all of a sudden you have these German shepherds just running around in the clothes on. Yeah. I was like, what poor PA had to put all these dogs?
Oh, I wish that was my job.
Dream job. Be a dog dresser, a dog costumer.
Yes.
For a movie. Yeah, that was great. As far as like the little vignettes, that's probably my favorite one. There's a couple other ones as we start to like get towards the end. Like I feel like the movie kind of drops it off at the end. Like there's another vignette later that Rosaline, she's telling the huntsman after he changes. We can talk about the huntsman in a second, but just since we're talking about vignettes, I want to say there's like that one story of the wolf girl who crawls out of the well.
Yeah.
And then she goes to like meet the priest, and then it's like, oh, I'll help you. And then she just leaves. I was like, what happened in this story? What's going on here?
I'm good. No, it's just like maybe she can't be, tamed. She goes back to the underworld.
Yeah, I get that. I just feel like it was so like we didn't learn anything from that story.
No,
because like she's a she-wolf. She arrives from the underworld. She goes to the priest. And I feel like they could have taken like 2 minutes to show maybe the priest like took her in and is like, I'm going to teach you how to be a proper young lady, and like put her in modest clothes, dress her. Maybe she even likes it for a little while, but then she has to like go feral again.
Maybe it's because, and a spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the movie. I mean, I would hope so. So because she turns into a wolf at the end, is she like saying that she's like really like deep down she's actually evil or something, or like maybe she's meant to be?
You mean Rosaline turning into a wolf at the end?
Yeah.
They kind of dropped the ball on that, because I feel like the whole movie we're talking about how men have this wolfish nature. And I think they start to talk about how, like, the mother of Rosaline mentions this, I think. She's like, well, the men, they get to like, the women get to meet their bestial needs, and like they can meet that with their own animal nature. Like that's also discussed. And I'm like, so this is just a metaphor for like everyone has an animal nature inside. Men are allowed to explore.
Not any different than the men, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's meant to be like very, I think, wolves are obviously a metaphor for like our animal nature. I think at the end when she turns, I wish there could have been like more of a transformation at the end. Like we see it happen, because like after all the drama with the amorous boy kind of goes away, Rosaline she's going to Granny's house again, and she meets the huntsman, who is clearly Daddy in this movie. How did you feel about the huntsman? Were you feeling him?
I wouldn't say that he wasn't well cast. I thought that he was like flirty, and he was like really putting it on her, like, and she was accepting of it because clearly she's tired of like being pursued by this boy.
Right.
And now here comes a man. And
sure.
She's dismissing the things that her grandma taught her. She's not really listening to the lessons that she has been taught this whole time. And she sees this man, and as he's like talking to her on in the film, it's like, okay, you can see that his eyebrows are meeting. Girl, what are we doing?
Yeah, too bushy.
Yeah, too bushy. She's talking to strangers. She clearly steered from the path a little bit. And yeah, I thought it was interesting because of it, like going to that scene of the wolves at the wedding,
Yeah.
you know, where they are in these beautiful costumes, and here he comes in a very beautiful costume as well.
Oh, I
So
love that costume. The huntsman's
mhm,
costume is like, oh, I want that for me.
I know. I was just like, okay, so like, is he like a time traveler? Clearly he's like a shapeshifter, or is he like what she is wanting to believe or see for herself, like a rich man who can, you know, provide for her, so her illusion is showing her this really refined looking gentleman. And
Oh, you're wondering if Rosaline like manifested him?
yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
thinking, you
That's
know.
an interesting take. I've never thought of that. I feel like, she told the story about the nobleman because that would have been sort of like commonplace, like back then, to have like the very rich, the very poor. And
Mhm.
so she's just talked about it. And like now she meets this huntsman who's also very finely dressed. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe she manifested him. Maybe he was just like meant to appear, because clearly this is the Red Riding Hood, the big Red Riding Hood part of the story.
Right.
And that scene again, like she's would have been like 13 at the time. The actor who plays the huntsman, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. It's Micah Burgess or Burgasi.
Okay.
He was known mostly as being a dancer. I don't know if you could see that through his body.
Yeah, he moved very gracefully and very fluid, you know. He was all over the place.
I feel like his movement stuff was better than his acting stuff. But he definitely has that vibe about him, especially with the contacts and his body. Like later when you see him with his shirt off, it's like, oh, okay, what's going on here? But there's definitely like a lot of sexual tension between him and this tween. I think
Oh
at one
yeah.
point when they're like chatting in the woods while they're having their interaction, he's like, I have something in my pocket. And I was like, I bet you do. I bet you
Or are
do.
you just happy to see me?
Exactly. Yeah. I wrote in my notes, every man in this movie needs a brow wax.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, at that point, like we get the classic Little Red Riding
Oh,
Hood, Wolf in the Forest. What, you have something to say?
I wrote a note and I just looked at it. I said, she Lady and the Tramps the biscuit with this random man in the woods.
She did Lady and Tramp the biscuit. Yeah, she had
Yeah,
one end, he had the other. He clearly was just dying for a smooch.
yeah, he wanted that smooch, baby.
He won that smooch, and she's like, no, I'm gonna go away. So they make a little bargain. He's like, I'm gonna get to your grandma's house faster. She's like, no, you're not. Then he gets to grandma's house, and I want to say, at the end, this is where the movie really drops acid.
Yeah.
This movie gets crazy. I feel like they had a pretty good start to it, but I rewatching it, I did not remember it being this like psychedelic. And
Yeah.
also it's very confusing and kind of ambiguous at the end. So yeah, you like clearly he beats Rosaline to grandma's house. He has an altercation with grandma,
Unfortunately.
which ends with him whacking her head off.
Yes.
And shattering like a doll's head. So again, we get that doll imagery. And I was like, and rewatching, I was like, oh, does grandma just die here? I did not remember that at all, but I was like, guess so. That's how it happens.
Pissed. I really hoped I wanted her to live. My favorite character of all.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see her like, I don't know, like fight him off more. But I know in the original Little Red Riding Hood story, I think she does die. So I think they just wanted to keep that true to the story. And then she ends up confronting him. It's funny, he doesn't pretend to be grandma at all, like in the original story. He's just like, what up?
He's like, come in.
He's like, come in. I'm your grandma. Oh, just kidding.
And then she's like, I'm here shirtless. Hi.
Yeah, what up? Yeah, no, he's ready to go. He's good to go. He's ready to rock. He is hot to go. Yeah, Rosaline is like, she's doing her best. She's like, there's no point in being scared. I'm just going to confront. Because it's like, yeah, again, going back to all the metaphors, there's so much of like being scared by men, but also being she's very attracted to him. Clearly, like she's very interested in sex.
Right.
And as a teen, she's fascinated by this world of wolves, and she's clearly attracted to it. She's like, I love the wolves. Like, why wouldn't you want them to hang out with you, to sing to you at night? So she has to confront this big bad wolf guy, and she ends up shooting him.
Yes.
And then he reverts to his wolf form. They have a nice, lovely little moment where she tells him the wolf girl story, which is, again, I think too short and weird.
Well, now you're skipping over the transformation scene.
Oh, I'm sorry. I blacked
this
that
segment.
out. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you describe it. What was this transformation scene like?
So he is like clearly starting to turn a little bit wolf, like his skin's melting a little bit, but also this tongue.
Oh, I forgot the tongue.
Insane, like foot-long tongue starts like swiveling around and everything. It's just so gross. And then like he basically like vomits himself out. The wolf form comes right out of his mouth, so it's like hinging like a boa constrictor or like some sort of viper.
Yeah.
And like it's just this wolf snout comes out of this guy's face, and I'm like, ew. Like I don't know what scene was worse as far as like animal transformation goes, like the boy in The Witches or like this scene.
Ooh, that's a good, as far as body horror goes, because I feel like I'm making you watch a lot of body horror, and this will not be the last, I feel.
Oh, great. Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a big fan of that as a horror genre in general, although I do love a lot of gross movies like Reanimator. There's definitely some oopy goopy movies I really adore. This one in particular, I do love, but I completely forgot about the tongue. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, it's just whipping right out of there. It's just flipping around. He's licking his face. They're like, you know what? We don't have a ton of money. We can build a prosthetic tongue for like $30, guys. So let's let her rip. Yeah, no, I forgot to describe that. And that I feel is, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I think all the transformations in this movie are pretty wild. And like, it's not what you expect.
Right.
At all. It's like, oh, the wolf comes out of the man. There really are hairy on the inside. Because that they repeat that phrase a lot. You're making
I didn't quite get that. I was like, okay.
What I gather from that is like, okay, you have the hairy on the outside, like people who clearly are wolves, but it's like the performative male thing. Okay. Like a guy on the outside who pretends to be nice. And I think that they say that at the end, like the sweeter the tongue, the sharper the tooth. There's a lot of discussion about like, just don't trust any man. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really like a 4B movie. Mm-hmm. I want to say this is very much like, no. And when I say not all men, I mean, not all men. I mean, yeah, like you really can't trust a single one, especially the ones that are nice to you, because they all want the same thing. They want you to be subservient. They want a mommy and a maid, and they want you to take care of all their shit. And then when they're done with you, they're going to toss you aside for someone who's more attractive. That's really like, it's again,
the flavor of the week.
The flavor of the week. Yeah. It's a very like, in terms of like the feminist lens, it's very like kind of black and white, but it also like all this stuff with Rosaline at the end and like how she's attracted to the huntsman. It's like, oh yeah, we're not to bring up Moonstruck again, but it's like the line they say in Moonstruck. It's like, he's like, you were attracted to the wolf in me. You wanted it too. Yeah. And it's very that like, yeah, you love that bestial nature. And that's how you get it as a woman. It's like, you can't express yourself in life. So you got to love a man who's like wild and crazy. So yeah, some very interesting adult themes in this one. By the end, I did write crazy long tongue prosthetic.
Oh, yeah. There you go. See?
Rosaline is, she defends herself at the end. And yeah, after she cuddles with the wolf, which I do love that moment. I wish they would, maybe this was just really hard to direct because they were working with wolves and or dogs. So it was probably really hard to direct the animals, but I wish that there was a shot of like Rosaline holding the dog in bed and then maybe like a fade into two dogs sleeping in a bed together. So you would get to see like, oh, now she's also a wolf. Maybe have like that moon come out. So because she's been with the wolf, like that's why it happened. It's sort of unclear why she turns, but she turns at the end. Rosaline's now a wolf. Everyone's trying to kill her, but her mom knows it's her, so that she's like, don't kill her.
Right.
Which I'm like, nice job, Mom. Like, even though like you've had difficulties with your daughter, you're still out here defending her.
As all moms should do.
Absolutely. Like women helping women.
Yes.
Is what we like. You got to be a girl's girl. So yeah, that leads, I mean, that's pretty much the end. It's very abrupt. It's like, okay, Rosaline's a wolf. They're chasing. Now we get back to wolves coming back into modern times, running up the stairs.
With the house like being like overgrown and no one's home clearly. And the dogs are running upstairs to her. And while she's in the bed sleeping at that white brick house. And the dog jumps through the window, which like she has a pet dog. There's clearly a picture of her and her dog together in her room.
Right.
And the dog jumps through the window and she's just like screaming. And then that's it.
And that's it. Roll credits, the end.
I'm like, this is an insane movie. I feel like I did drop acid whilst watching this. And I was as sober, as a priest.
Yeah, it's that ending I take umbrage with. I watched an interview with both Angela Carter and Neil Jordan after I'd watched it because I was like, what were y'all thinking? Because the books do not end like the books are different. I do want you to read the books. I think you'll have a deeper appreciation for the movie. And I think the stories are more satisfying and there's more of them. Like you're going to get like all the different characters. You're going to be like, oh, this is that character from the movie.
Maybe the wolves have names and stuff. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. But like you will recognize some characters for sure reading The Bloody Chamber. Neil Jordan was it was funny because they asked Angela Carter, like the interviewers asking Angela Carter, like, why all that scream? Why does Rosaline like scream at the end? Like, why doesn't she welcome the wolves? Like, to me, that would be a more satisfying ending. Like, what if she wakes up from her dream, all the wolves are like snarling and running towards her and they all like jump in her bed and maybe they all like, why didn't they like put peanut butter on her face so all the dogs would like start licking it? Do you know what I'm saying?
Or maybe it's her dog who came up to like her room to kind of like warn her that her sister was coming in the beginning. Maybe he's there defending her room from these intruder wolves or something.
Right. Or maybe at the end all the wolves run up to the door. Maybe Rosaline transforms into a wolf.
Or like when she was in the bed, the covers come out and then she's actually a wolf the whole time.
See, we're writing better endings than I feel like if we don't write at least one screenplay, because I feel you see how easy it is to come up with like better ideas. We've talked about this before. Like you need promises, progress, and payoff. And I get, this is not my thing. This is like a Brandon Sanderson thing. Who is a famous writer who talks about like how you set up stuff in story. You don't have to spoon feed everybody everything. Not everybody needs to end up alive and happy at the end of your story.
Right.
But you set up your promises in the beginning. You're like, okay, this is the world we're in. We're making progress. We're making progress throughout the movie to reach this goal. Maybe they don't reach it, but there's a payoff at the end. And this movie doesn't really have, I mean, I guess there is because the dream ends, but like we need.
Not great. The dream doesn't end really nice,
Yeah,
it's just still a nightmare.
Yeah, the interview with Angela Carter was interesting because the interviewer was presenting the same questions we are. Like, I would have thought Rosaline would have welcomed the dogs. And she was sort of smiling and shaking her head. And she was like, you're going to have to ask the director about that. Because that was clearly a Neil Jordan choice. And apparently Neil Jordan was like, well, I don't see the scream as like scary. I feel like it's like orgasmic and happy. And also, and I was like, Neil, I didn't get that at all. Like you needed to direct that tween to scream. Like she doesn't know what an orgasmic scream is because I did not get that at all. She just looks terrified.
Yeah.
At the end. So I was just like, that was an interesting choice. I don't agree with it. It kind of puts like a weird pin on the end of the movie. And you almost want to like, I feel like a good editor or just somebody else like making a stronger statement towards the end would have really helped. Like it elevates it for me because even on rewatch, I'm like, okay, like as a movie, I mean, I love it, right? I wouldn't have asked you to watch it if I didn't love it and I didn't connect with it. But for me, as a movie, I'm like, it kind of makes it slide into like a B- territory a little bit.
Okay.
You know, how did you feel? What was your rating?
I would give it a C-.
Oh, Lordy Lou.
Lordy Lou, only because, and here's the thing, I do appreciate like something that's more metaphorical, something like you said that's a little bit Freudian, maybe a solid C, because I did like a lot of other aspects of the movie. I thought that the main female character, she did a great job, of course, being only like 13, 14. Are you kidding me? She did awesome.
She did awesome, yeah.
But having, it's Angela Lansbury, right?
Yeah, that's
having her in the movie, it felt like a comforting, like almost like Mrs. Claus grandma sort of like vibe, and I loved having her in there. I thought that kind of felt like nostalgic for me.
Sure.
And you know, I liked a lot of the different scenes. I loved like the art direction when it comes to doing those vignettes.
Yeah.
But I will say the ending definitely kind of threw it for me a little bit. Like, having her scream bloody murder, waking up, and like there's no answer about like what her real life is like back after having, clearly she was ill. Like, she was sick in bed and sleeping all day. And like her parents were like, we're going to punish her. I'm like, come on now. So
let her live.
I'm like, your child is ill. Like, she needs a Gatorade. She needs a soup.
Yeah, go get her food.
Yeah, and so for it to all end like that, having it begun where she's just been asleep this whole time, I'm like, okay, like I was looking for maybe a little bit of like after territory, like almost like how when Dorothy comes back in The Wizard of Oz and she comes back and she sees everybody, like her neighbors who were all there, and like, you know, her Auntie M.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's just like having like those people who were in the movie, like in that fantasy dream with her, have them like, you know, do a little more life together after her waking up and like clearly from her illness, you know. And then maybe the dog comes up and gives her a snuggle, and then she's like, I just got my period.
Yeah, the end. Yeah, no, totally. I love that idea of like having it sort of be like a Wizard of Oz ending where it's like, and you were there, and you were there, and you were my parents there. And maybe the lesson is, does she embrace puberty? Does she embrace womanhood? Or does she want to hold on to that childhood as long as she can?
Or does she just want to like completely remove herself from these put upon like gender roles and go move to Japan?
Exactly. Yeah. Does she want, like, do we just do we make her a self-insert character of Angela Carter? And she's like, you know what? I don't need to choose. I can just go live somewhere else. I'm just going to get out of town and, you know, I don't know, maybe start breeding dogs.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe, yeah, like maybe become a breeder, maybe be a writer, maybe do crafts. Like there were a lot of crafts in the movie. Start like an Etsy store.
Like knit some capes.
Yeah. Oh, I was so pissed off when the huntsman made her toss her cape in the fire. I was like, what the fuck? You know how much work that is? I'm sorry. I knit. It takes a long time.
I'm like, what was the point? Like, we didn't need that in there. It's not going to burn. It's going to smell really bad.
It's going to smell terrible. Like, he's like, you don't need that anymore. I'm like,
maybe it's like an innocence or something. Maybe that's her menses, you know,
but you don't need your hymen anymore.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Oh my God.
Yeah. I feel like that. Yeah. This is definitely a movie that like,
it leaves a lot of questioning at the end.
It's a lot of questioning. Like I said, this was one of my first movie memories as a little bit of baby child. I had just seen it arbitrarily, and then like I chased it down my whole life. And after I had rediscovered it, I became completely obsessed with it and like all of her work. So if anything, for me, it was like an introduction into a whole like Angela Carter is, like I said, one of the grandmothers of like, what's the word? Magical realism is the genre. And it's been like a kind of writing I've always sought out. So I give it credit for that. Like I said, the movie definitely has issues. I'm sorry that you found it to be a C-.
And I'm gonna bring it up to a C.
Okay.
Like I said, we wrote better endings already just
Right.
now. And I think maybe, is it like a Sopranos thing where like the screen goes black and you're supposed to do the imagining for yourself? That's fine. I thought that there were a couple like things that just, I don't know. It wasn't like an all-star movie for me,
Right.
but I did enjoy it. I'm glad I watched it. I feel like I've learned multiple things. It's definitely like something that's worth a rewatch, so you can kind of like let those things like sink further into your mind. But I just hated the ending so much. That's why I was mad. I was like, if the ending was a little bit different, either like the Wizard of Oz ending or her not like fully guttural screaming at the end, I would think that I would give it a higher rating.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see that. Yeah, it was one of those things where I was just like, I hope Melanie gets like some good vibes from this. We get a little bit of inspo. It's a very it's a very feminine sort of menstrual movie.
And as somebody who's basically in the 4B movement anyways, like I appreciate it,
Right. I was like, okay, Melanie's really going to relate to this and she's going to feel affirmed in her life choices. Cause honestly, nobody needs that hairy ass man.
Although, again, if we harken back to some other pods that we've done earlier, I am still taking applications.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's so Melanie is 4B. She doesn't want to date or marry or breed with any man. However, if you do have a green card arrangement for her, we are still taking applications. You can email us at VHSsisterspodcast@gmail.com. Yes. Please, we're on Instagram. We're on the TikTok. Shoot us a DM. Engage with us on social media. Tell us what you think. If you also hated this movie, if you've never heard of this movie, I feel like this one really was for me. I feel like I've started to drop in some real indie classics here. And this is for me. These are the movies that I've seen, and I'm like,
that's fine. I appreciated it. I liked it. I'll give it a thumbs up for sure.
Yeah, we started our podcast with Jaws, and I'm like, one of the biggest blockbusters of all time. And now we've really like run the gamut from like animated films, TV movies. We've done, some bigger movies to some studio movies. It's really, tell us what you like to listen to. We might listen to your feedback. Or not, because again, this is really for me and my little sister. It's not for you, but
it's our podcast and not yours.
So I can talk about this horny wolf movie if I want. I'm going to link the documentary, which is like pretty short, and the link that I have, again, the documentary is called Danger: Wolves on Set, the making of the Company of Wolves. So if you can find a better rip of it, it's on YouTube, and the one that I have is full of Australian TV commercials, which are worth a watch just for these commercials. So I'm gonna send that to you. I'm gonna link it. Yeah. Anything else about the Company of Wolves? Any other takeaways that you got?
Two quotes for the end.
Okay. Yeah. Quote corner.
And I mean, grandma, like I said, with the one-liners, of course, you can't forget, don't stray far from the path. Don't eat a wind-fallen apple. Don't trust a man where his eyebrows meet. And then also, if you spy a naked man in the wood, run fast, like the devil is after you.
That's just great. That's great advice to end on. That's just great in general. I was saying, like, how fucking disturbing to be walking in the woods. What if you just saw a naked man? Of course I would run.
And then the other quote is, you can't trust anyone, least of all a priest.
It's so true. Grandma is out here with the good life advice that we all should have gotten as tweens. I love it. Yeah, this has been great. This is a great rewatch. It was good. Like, we're continuing spooky season. It's going to go all the way to Christmas.
Oh yeah, the most spooky holiday of all.
That's right. Good old Yule. So thanks again for listening, everybody. We hope you've enjoyed this pod. Again, please engage with us. We need friends.
I want to talk to you.
I need weird friends, preferably female, who want to talk to me about weird movies. We're going to find it. We're going to find our people.
Hell yeah.
For sure. Shoot us a message and keep on listening.
Download too. We love downloads.
We love, if you want to download our pod, that helps us out so much. Yeah, this has been VHS Sisters. Again, I'm Saysha.
I'm Melanie.
And we're going to see you next time.
See you on the next one, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of VHS Sisters.
We hope you've had a fun and cozy time.
Please consider liking, leaving a review, and following us on your podcast platform of choice.
If you'd like to chat with us, please email us at VHSsisterspodcast@gmail.com.
Love you. Bye. That's it.